Yeah. So, good morning. So, what we are going through yesterday? Yeah. So we were checking out code from SVN, right? Okay. From SVN repository. Okay. So we are checking out the code. Check out the source. Okay, from SVN repository, and yeah. So where we are running this job, we are running it on master, right? We are trying to run on slave as well, but since the slave was offline, so there are some issues, so we are not able to run it. So let's run this job again on slave, okay? And after this, see, once the source code is available within our jobs workspace, then what we do, we start building it. Okay, we start building it. But how we want to build it? We're going to use and tool. Okay, so let's take some scripts. Let's take some and scripts to build our application. Okay, we already see we are getting the sources. We're getting the source code from SVN repository. Once we get the source code from SVN repository, so what we do, we start building that source of application or project. Okay, let's do these parts.
So yesterday we get the wrong version. What is the task?
Sorry, we?
Whenever we build it, we were getting version numbers in 45 instead of 47. What is the task?
See, that was only, I told you, right? It was only because of the time sync. So that was only because of the time sync. That's it. See, once we have set the server timing as well as slave same time, slave timings as well. Once they were in sync, it was starting getting the same 47 version. See, actually what was the issue was our repository time is different. I mean, where we have repository time, that is different. Okay, and where we have the master time, that is different. So that is the reason it is giving you some such kind of issue. So always make sure. So even now, first let me set these timings first. Otherwise, it's going to an issue again. See, this is our what is this? This is it our master? Whatever. Just set the times first. Okay, it's 22nd. Also, $15 minutes difference is allowed, no issues. So 2:30 is our master. So this is a master machine. Okay. And then Also, let me check the node machine settings as well, slave machine. So look at here, the difference between your master and the slave machine is, it's only, your slave machine is 40 seconds ahead. Okay, only 47 seconds. So up to 15 minutes, that's okay. But if it is more than 15 minutes, there will be a problem. Okay, so let's check this node configuration. So 229, that's a slave machine. Yeah, we have slave running, so no issues. So that's why it is online. Yeah, it is running and it is online. Fine. So what we do now is, and we need a repository as well. So we need a repository. So let me check whether a repository is running or not. So version 6. CD subversion 6. Yeah, repository is running. Fine, no issues. Site 47 revision. Let's create a new item again. Style project. So if you want to copy, you can copy from existing job as well. Okay. So the first is, I want to get the source code. So click on this source code management section. There you have the subversion. Get the URL. Copy the URL. Okay. Paste it. So after this, just save it. So if I say static IP, then it is not working. The internet was not working. That's why. Yeah, subversion here. So get the URL. Okay, fine. Then apply. Save it. Okay. So just build it first, like we have seen yesterday. The same. Build now. So it is running on Linux node machine. So did we do any restrictions to run this job on particular slave machine? Did we do any restrictions? No, right? So by default it is running on some slave machine. Okay, so it is all depends upon your master, like on which machine it has to run. Okay, so but since we had two slave machines, one is Windows, other one is on Linux. The Windows is offline, so it is running on Linux. Okay. Yeah.
So what is the best API?
Sorry.
Best API.
So where do you say this? Where do you say? Where did you find that?
The industry.
So this is
Not the better.
what is that? Jenkins provides access API. They are available. So it's a portion of the objects where you would like to. Even I never find this. You can also specify. Okay. So I think this is regarding. Okay. So if you want to access data, source HTML matches, etc., you can also specify optional export. REST API. Of course, it is a application program interface, but what is regarding, I think so. So if you want to use some XML APIs, if you have any applications to run through Jenkins, I think this helps you, I guess. In objects, Jenkins provide the remote access to. Yeah. So if you want to access the objects regarding XML or JSON or Python APIs, so you need this REST API, I guess. Yeah, that's what it says. So many objects of Jenkins provide the remote access to API. Okay, so if you want to access Jenkins through other applications, okay, then you need this. Okay, so what is going on here? Why it's taking time? Things not happening.
So in Jenkins actually, so asking username and the password. Where do you find
Sorry, Jenkins also.
username and the password?
Yes.
But the next login for asking, where do you find?
Even next time onwards, right? So the username is by default administrator. Default is administrator. Okay, and the password is the same password. Once first you enter the password right in secrets, that is the password.
Log difference.
No, there is no clock difference. It's only 47 seconds. No issues. It's not regarding the clock. I'm sure. Yeah, this is.
So in static API, access.
Yeah, but see, the machine. The problem is with the machine. That's what. Problem is with the machine. Otherwise, why would I not? Okay, now need to configure this as well. Yeah, yeah, fine. No.
Linux will also use.
Sorry. No. This time exceptions. Let me do this. One second. I just mark it offline. I don't want to run it anymore on the slave machine. They should work now. Yeah. So there is some problem with the slave machine. So that's why it's getting failure every time. So did anyone try to configure the Windows slaves? Yeah. So okay, is it working?
Yes, it is working, but I have faced a problem. I assigned both to single level.
Sorry?
Uh, both Linux and Windows shell machine assigned the single level.
Single level, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just place restrict I should not. I just place the label name
Okay.
and I just run some Windows commands.
Yes.
They execute on Linux.
Yeah. That's why I said. So the job will be assigned randomly. Job will be assigned randomly.
And the job failed.
Yeah, job will get failed. See, if you, and that is the problem actually. So we don't know where the job will be run on the particular label. So that can be run on a slave, Linux slave or else Windows slave. So we can't predict it. So that is the reason if you want to run particular job on particular slave machine, there, if you want to run on particular slave machine, there in the restriction section, mention your slave machine name instead of mention the group name or label name. Okay, so that will do. But see, that is the reason what we do is usually, okay, we don't add different kinds of slaves into a same label. Okay, see what we do is, for example, let's take, I have about 3 slaves, 5 slaves, just say. So 3 slaves are on Linux, other 2 slaves are on Windows. So what we do, we create 2 different labels for Windows slave machines and other label for Linux slave machines. And all this also make sure you have all these configurations are same. For example, I have 3 Linux machines. Okay, so make sure all your Linux configurations are same. The operating system configurations are same. Okay, and the same as your Windows. Otherwise, your job won't be success. Okay. It is fetching it. Revision 47. Finish success. Okay. Just go to workspace. Now here we have the sources, right? We have a source as well as the and build file. Okay. Now within the source we have some source files. Okay. Now, so let's configure this again. And if you want to check, you can check your workspace directory. Workspace. So this is our build file. This is our and build file. Okay. So now we have the source as well as the build file. Let's try to build this application. Okay. So again, I configure this job. So we have already downloaded and plugin through offline. Okay. So the plugin should be available now. If you go to the build section now, so within the build section, you have invoke and. Okay. Just invoke and. Okay. So now here, advanced sections. So here mention your build file name. Mention your build file name. What is your build file name? Okay. Now, what is our build file name? This is our build file name, right? And just copy the name and make sure the names are correct. That's a name. Okay. And then, so here, so if you click on this, now you can select different versions where you want to run your project. Okay. Whether you want to run in Java so and so version, Java so and so version. Okay. Now select some version. Okay. And then okay, we'll see whether it will work or not. If it does not work, we'll try in a different way. Just build now. Yeah, so it's no issues. So you look at here, since the source code was already fetched, right? So it is not going to fetch the source code again until there is a change in the revision. Until there is a change in the revision. See, for example, what is going to happen is, okay, see, firstly, what is the revision as of now? Revision at 47. Okay, so but at revision 47, your Jenkins job has already fetched the source code. Your job has already fetched the source code. So again, it is trying to fetch the source code from the repository because you are building your job again. So whenever you build your job, what should happen? First check out and then build it. But we already working on latest revision, which is revision 47. Okay, so it is not going to fetch the source code because your local version in Jenkins workspace as well as your central repository version are the same. So it is not going to fetch the source code. Okay, now, so after this, look at here, you see the same. No changes for the repository. No changes for the repository. If there is only any change, then repository will fetch the source code. Otherwise, repository won't fetch the source code. Okay, now, so now after that, it is building a job. It is building the job. So clean, compile, package, and then run. We know these targets, right? We have seen this target. Okay, now, and one thing here, see, for example, let me run this job again, or else let me try this in a different way. Say if you configure this job, if you go to the build section, okay, in the advanced section, see we have some options available. So here targets, okay. So what is this targets? So if you want to run a particular specific target, you can run the target. How many targets we have there? Clean, compile, package, and then run target. So I want to run only the clean target, okay, and then save this. Now, how many targets you see? Only clean target. Okay. You see only the clean directory. So which file has been deleted? Build directory has been deleted, right? Okay. So open the workspace, src. So do you have the build directory? No, we don't have build directory. So you can run a specific target as well. And see, sometimes, okay, if your and see, for example, I want to run this project on a different versions of AND. See, like we are running the project on different versions of JDK, right? So, for example, just select. See, we have only two versions. Like I mentioned at 1.8, 1.8. You can change these versions. The same way, if you want to run your project on different versions of AND, okay, you can do that. How do you do that? So, how did we set these versions of JDK? Did we download it or? Yeah. Yes. In tool. So in global tool settings, right? So manage Jenkins in global tool configurations. Okay, global tool configuration section. Under that, so look at here we have ANT as well. See, if you check the JDK, we already have set up 1.8. Okay. Now, see, we have set up actually both the same. I just want to name. Okay, fine. So JDK we have two versions. One is 8, one is 9 version. Okay, and then here we have ANT. So let's set up ANT as well. Now here, just name it some ANT 8 version. The version. Okay, that's one thing. Even I want to go for two versions here. One is 1.8.0, other one is 1.8.3. Apply. Save. And configure your job. Okay. Now you see ANT version, right? You see the ANT version. Okay. Now you can run on your selected versions. Whatever the version you want to use for ANT, you can use it. Okay. So it's all like, say, sometimes you may have to work on different versions of particular application or particular Java or ANT or else Maven as well. Okay, then just test it on different versions of so and so versions. Okay, once you select the version, okay, you start building it, save, build now. Okay. But this time, what is going to happen? Ant will be installed. You see this, right? Ant installation. So Ant will be installed now. Okay. So far we have been selecting JDKs and JDK will be installed. Now we are working on Ant specific version. Now Ant has to be installed. Okay. Once Ant is installed, it is going to use specific version of Ant to build it. Okay. And yeah, let it be done. And one more thing is that, see, so far how we are building these jobs. So we have been building the jobs manually. Okay. Let's see one thing here before that. So we have seen uh, the continuous integration part, okay, by using SVN as well as ANT. Okay, now, yeah, whatever. Okay, now just from your side, okay, what you can try is just use GitHub and then Maven. Just try this. See, every step will be the same step. It's the same step. Like first you need to download the GitHub plugin first. Once you download the GitHub plugin, then what do you do? Yeah, in source code management section. So in source code management section, there you select the GitHub option. There you mention your GitHub URL there. Okay, and then start building it. Once you build it, your source code will be fetched. Okay, and then use Maven as your build file, like .xml file. Just try this out. Okay. See, and also try for a jar application as well as a var application. Want to try this? Just give it a try. Just give it a try. Okay. Sorry. What is installation? See. No. So what I mean is here. See. So if you want to build an application, see, application can be a jar application or var application, right? Application can be a var application or jar application. So in Ant we have seen some archetypes. We have seen archetypes, right? What are those archetypes? For example, I want to build a jar application. Okay. So which archetype we have gone through? Sorry? Yeah, quick start, correct. Now, or else, so that is for jar application. But I want to build a var application. Then what is that plugin name? Web app, right? Web app. So like this, you create two different applications. You create the two different architecture types. Yeah. So look at here. First create a application. First create a directory structure for what kind of application? Jar application. So how do you do that? With the help of an archetype plugin. Okay, quick start archetype plugin. So once you create it, so what do? Where do you place the source files? Within SRC. Within SRC, and then main Java so and so whatever. Okay, now. So what you do next is, see, now this is our project, right? This is our project. Now we have a form, we have a source. Okay, developer has created this kind of architecture, and they have the source file is ready as well as the form file is ready. What do they do next? They push it, right? So now here we want to use GitHub as a repository. Just take these files and push it onto your GitHub repository. Okay, so far this part is clear, right? Now, but how do you fetch this source code from? By using Jenkins. We need a GitHub plugin there. We need a GitHub plugin, and there go to source code management section. Then select the GitHub option. Once you select, just provide the URL of this GitHub repository, and then start building it. What happens then? This project will be checked out onto your jobs workspace in Jenkins. Okay, clear? Then, so we have source, we have form. Then what do? You need to run some. What do you run? Yeah, do you run form file or do you run the commands? I mean, the phases. We run the phases. Okay. See, first, today, tomorrow, just try this. Do not forget about the Maven part. Just only try to get the source code from GitHub repository. That's it. So once you do that, so let me know tomorrow, so that you have first the source code. Then we'll see how to build your application by using Maven. Just try only GitHub part. That's it. Do not forget about that Maven part. So we have tried SVN today, and tomorrow, just from your side, try for GitHub. It's the same. Everything will be the same. Same steps. Everything will be the same. Okay. But here the plugin name is, the GitHub is a plugin name. Okay. So try this out, and See, once after end of this course, okay, so we'll take two different projects for var and the jar. Var application we take and the jar application. Then we'll start building those applications. We take two different projects. One is for var, one is for jar. Okay. Then we fetch the source code from GitHub repository. We start building that application. Then we deploy it. So we look into two different projects at the end of this course. But in the meanwhile, do not wait till that time. Just try this part from your side. Okay, clear? Just give it. It's very simple task. It's very simple task. Okay, so try this out. And if you have any issues, let me know with a screenshot. Come up with a screenshot. Okay, okay. So look at here. There was we are running this, building this on which version of Find? 1.8.3. Okay. So which target we are running? Only clean target. Okay. And so does anyone remember what is the property file in AND? Yeah, dot properties file, right? Remember at least, right? So if you have any property files, for your build, just mention your property file names here. Okay, just mention your property file names. Properties needed by. So just mention your property file names as well. Okay, and so one thing here, if you remember the command line properties, right? Do you remember the command line properties, right? See, for example, I want to pass some values to those properties while running it. Okay, so how do you do that? By using Jenkins. So get the property name, x is equals to 10, and then y is equals to something, some values. Simple. Okay, clear? So if you have any properties and you want to pass the values to those properties while runtime, just mention the property name equals to value, property name and equals to value. These values will be taken. Okay, so just try this out as well. Okay, take a property file, take a property file, okay, command line property file, take that file and try to build it. Okay, so try these two different tasks from your side. One is the GitHub one, and second one is in SVN itself. Okay, so SVN, the command line properties. So here what you do is just assign some values. Assign values to properties. Try these two different tasks from your side. Okay. Right. And see, we have gone through the integration part. Okay, we have gone through the integration part. We have not gone through the deployment part yet. Okay, so I'll cover this deployment part once we finish the security part. Okay, because at that time we need to, if you want to do deployments, we need to create some users in Tomcat. Okay, just remember this part. I'll come back to this integration part. Okay, we take this source code, we take the build file. Okay. Just build now. See, and also look at here. Whenever we are building an application or we are building a project, okay. So here if you want to trigger a job, how you are triggering your job? You're triggering it by clicking on the build now option. Clicking on the build now option. See, but if some source code is changed on a repository, SVN repository, automatically the job has to be triggered and fetches the source code from the repository. That should happen automatically. Understand my point? Okay. Or else, for example, I have a developer. Okay. The developers are pushing the source code onto the repository. Okay. They are pushing it every day. Okay. So whatever the source code has been pushed to the repository by the developers. So we need to get that source code and then start building it. Okay, start building it. But that kind of task should happen automatically. That means even I'm not going to click on this build now option. So every day at so and so time, the source code has to be fetched and start building it. Understand? So this kind of task should happen automatically. Okay. So how do we do that? See, so far we know that we have set up everything. Like whenever you configure it, we have set up that it has to fetch the source code from so and so repository and then start building it. So far we know this part. But even this job has to trigger every day at so and so time automatically. Whenever the job is triggered automatically, okay, what happens? Source code will be fetched from SVN repository and start building it. So that should happen automatically. Then only you call it, it's a continuous integration. It's a continuous automate integration. So how do you do this kind of task? Okay. So if you go to the job level configuration page, this page, here your option to build triggers, to build the triggers. Okay. Now, so we have three kinds of option here. One is build after other projects or build. We'll come back to this option later on. But firstly, we'll look into build periodically. Build periodically. Okay. So just click on this build periodically. Okay. Now here, schedule. Schedule when and what time you want to trigger your job. Okay. But how do you mention the times here? This is in Linux we have called cron jobs. The same here you mention the times. Or else if you don't know what is a cron job, let me explain that part now. If you click on this help button, here you can see how do you set up your times. Okay, on which day, on which time, which minute, which hour, which month, which day of the week. So you need to set up this kind of configurations within this box, the schedule box. On so and so schedule time, the job will be triggered. The job will be triggered automatically and it performs the operation, like whatever you mentioned within the source code management section or within the build section. Okay, so let's look into this part now. See, firstly we'll try to understand this kind of terminology here, the cron jobs. Okay, see, always remember you need to mention the time within the schedule box. You need to mention the time in this particular format. The format is minutes, hours, date of the month, day of the week. Okay, so minutes, hours, day of the month, and then day of the week. Minutes, how many minutes you have? 60 minutes. So it is 0 to 59. And okay, and hours, 24 hours, 0 to 23. And then month of the day of the month. So how many days? 1 to 31. And then month. So 12 months. And the day of the weeks, 0 to 7. So but here 0 and 7 are Sundays. 0 and 7 are Sundays. Okay. Both 0 and 7 are Sundays. Okay. Okay. See, for example, let me take a small example here. If I mention, see, this is the format how you need to mention h slash and then mention first is minutes, right? So mention the minutes first. Yeah, just make it okay. 05. Okay, so I mentioned first 5 minutes, and then comes hours, right? But here star means all values. Okay, all hours, 24 hours, and then what is the next? What is the next value? Day of the month. That's again star, and then every month. Okay, and then every day of the week. Every day of the week. So here I want to trigger this job for every 5 minutes. That's what it means. I want to trigger this job for every 5 minutes. Okay, the job will be triggered for every 5 minutes. Okay, let's try this job. And but see, this is very important. If you want to schedule your jobs, the first and foremost important thing is set up your clocks. Check whether the clocks are in sync or not. Manage nodes. See, they are in sync, right? That's only, you mean, so if you want to run this job on a slave machine, make sure your slave time as well as your master's time both are in sync. If they are not in sync, then your master does not know or your slave does not understand which exact time it is. For example, I mention it as to run this job on so and so day, 21st, on 21st, right? But my master, on my master the day is 21st, but on slave the day is only 20. So when the job will be triggered? Now again, none, that's a big problem. So always, that is the reason they are given specifically in manage, in this manage node section, we have the clock as well, which is very, very important. The clock difference should not be, make sure should not be more than 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, if so, but most of the time try to sync as much as you can, so that the job will be triggered at perfect times. Okay, so here, but here we don't have any slaves running. We are running everything on the master now. So here I mention it as some 5 minutes and then star, all stars. Okay, now once you do that, if you click on somewhere out of the box, here it gives, say, would run last time 8:13 and next job will be run at 8:18. So the job will be run next at so and so time. What is the time? 8:18 and the date and the time. Okay, so it is, the date is today 22nd 2018, 8:18 and then 40 seconds. Now it is 8:17. Let's save this. Okay, so and see here the job was done at 7:57, right? This job was done at 7:57. Okay, and then what is the bill number here? 8. So let's see the job will be triggered or not automatically. I'm not going to trigger this job manually. So I'm not going to do it manually. Okay, so let's wait for some time and we'll see. And in the meanwhile, we'll explore a few more options within the build triggers. Okay, so click on this. Now, see, there are some examples have been given here. You can go with the examples here. Like, say, every 10 minutes, let me copy this. So every 10 minutes in the first half of every 2 hours, and then 3 times perhaps so and so. So what does it mean? Just look at here. Every 10 minutes in the first half of every hour. So what is first half? See, first half of every hour it says, right? So yeah, first 30 minutes. Okay, first 30 minutes. I want to trigger this job for every. See, 3 times. I want to trigger this job 3 times. I want to trigger this job 3 times. See, look at here. Trigger this job. for how many times they said first half of, see 3 times, right? 3 times. They said trigger this job 3 times. Okay, but how many times? 3 times, that's correct. But they said first half. What do you mean by first half? First 30 minutes. Okay, first 30 minutes. First 30 minutes. See, if you want to trigger your job 30 minutes, okay, 3 times for 30 minutes and then 3 times. Like how many minutes the job should be done for every 10 minutes, right? So I'm dividing that into by 10. So job will be triggered for every 10 minutes. Okay, and then that's it. They are not talking about anything else about minutes or hours or date of the month or day of the week. This is how. So trigger your job for every 30 minutes. That too first half of the 30 minutes and then every 3 times first half of hour. Okay. Here, yeah, look at here. Now build is triggered, right? The build has been triggered. Okay, and then what is the time? 8:18. So the trigger number is, the job number is, history number is 9. Okay, so the job is triggered automatically. The job is triggered automatically. We are not triggered it manually. Okay. And then there are some other options as well, like here. But usually, well, let me give you this example. Yeah, this one. Okay. So this one as well, like once every 2 hours at 45 minutes, fast the hour, starting at 9:45, finishing at 3:45. First, try to understand this sentence first. So when you want to trigger, when they want the job has to be triggered, see, just divide that into steps, like divide that into parts. Okay. See, first they said every 2 hours, right? Every 2 hours. Okay. Now here, see how many hours we have? As we know, 0 to 23. 0 to 23. So every 2 hours. Okay. So 2 hours, that's the first thing. 2 hours. Okay. Now, that's the first part. Then, what is the next thing they say? I forgot about this part. I will come back to that part. Now, starting at 9:45 and then finishing at 3:45. So it is from 9 to 4. Correct. It's from 9. Should be from 9 to 4. Okay. So now here, every 2 hours, correct. That's correct. But is it 0 to 23? No, it's not 0 to 23. It should be from 9 to 16, right? 9 to 4, 16. Okay. 9 to 16 for every 2 hours, they say. Okay, this part is done. So hours part is done. Then how about the minutes? Are they talking anything about the minutes? 45 minutes. But yeah, so 45 minutes. They're talking about 45 minutes. 45 minutes, right? And then every weekday, only weekdays, not on weekends. Okay, only weekdays. Now here, weekdays means, but are they talking anything about the month and the day? No, right? So that means both are stars. Then how about the days? 1 to 5. This is how it should be. Okay. Now, for example, I want to trigger this job. I want to trigger a job for every 2 hours. Okay, every 2 hours, That too only in the first half. That means only from 9 to 2, 9 to 2. Every 2 hours 9 to 2.
Stop.
Okay, start.
First half. Stop.
9 to
92.
9 to 2 means
14.
14. Every 2 hours. Okay, every 2 hours. Okay, start. So I want to run all the days. All days. Okay, I want to run it on all days. Okay, so here this is how you mention it. So if you understand exactly what exactly your requirement, it's easy to design these cron jobs. It's very easy. Okay. Now, but see, for example, if I mention this, trigger this job for every 2 hours. Trigger this job for every 2 hours. Then what happens? The job will be triggered for every 2 hours. This job will be triggered for every 2 hours, and then what it does? It fetches the source code from repository. It fetches the source code from this so-and-so repository. Okay. But see, there is no meaning that you're triggering this job if your repository version is not changed. Understand my question? See, is there any meaning that without triggering this job, without changing any revisions on the central repository? No. So the job should not be triggered if there is no change on the central repository. Okay. So then we have a different option for this. So if you do this, if you select this option like build triggering, if you mention this, the job will be triggered for every 5 minutes, irrespective of whether the revision is changed on the central repository or not, SVN repository or not. Okay. Though there is a no change in the revision, again it start fetching the job and then start building it. But that should not happen. Okay. The job should be triggered for every 5 minutes. Now look at here my requirement. The job should be triggered for every 5 minutes. But it should not fetch a source code if there is no change in the repository. Okay. Right. So then here we go with poll SCM based. We go with poll SCM based. Okay. Now here what I do is, okay, so this source code has to be fetched for every 5 minutes. Let's make it 2 minutes now. 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes. Okay. So job will be triggered at 8:27. Let's. Okay. Now. So will it, the job should have been triggered at 8:27. Let's see whether the job will be triggered or not. So will the job will be triggered? That won't be triggered. Why?
Because there is no change.
Yeah. So let's do one thing here. We try to do some checkouts to that repository. We try to do some, commits. We try to do some commits to that repository, and we'll see whether the job will be triggered or not. Okay. Let's check out this repository now. Check out. So it is a 46, 47 revision. CD repo 6. So now we are in repository. Now. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, we are doing some changes. Yeah. So here, I couldn't get. What was that? Sorry. Yeah. You just create some file, whatever the file it is, no issues. It's not touched, right? Yeah. Okay. So just svn add. Oh, he's already added, right? Sorry. So just commit it. So we are commenting it, but before that, see, the job should have been triggered at 8:27, but it is not triggered yet. It's not, the job is not triggered yet. Okay. Now we'll commit it and we'll see whether the job will be triggered or not. Yeah. So version is changed now. Okay. So we'll wait and see. So it will be triggered at 8:31. So let's see. See, the time is your server time, not your Windows time. Windows time. Okay. That is your server time.
Implement.
Did we save this? No, we did not. We did not save that actually. It's 8:33 now. Yeah. Come on. it is loading up things again. Yeah, I think so. So that it is okay. It's not triggered. Sorry. Repository URL is correct, right? Did we change that URL? Same URL, right? Yeah, version is changed, but the URL is the same. So there's no problem with the URL. So it is changing up. Sorry. Yeah, but so it does not matter. So it does not matter. So whether it's for R3 or whatever. Okay. Here only the revision matters. It's not about whether you are so and so path or not. It's only the revision is matter. Yeah, it is triggered. Look at here. So it is triggered. See. So it is at revision 48 now. So and again the job should be triggered at next is after 2 minutes. Job should be triggered at next is after 2 minutes. But the job won't be triggered because of the same revisions. Because of the same revisions. 839. So again, just configure this. We'll be knowing this. So it's showing 8:39:25. Yeah, look at here. The next should be run at 8:39, but 8 still showing 8:39, right? Yeah. So the job is not triggered, right? Should have been triggered at 8:39, 25 seconds. Is the job triggered? No. It's almost 8:40 now. Yeah, it is 8:40. So job is not triggered. So if there is only change in the revision, the job will be triggered. If there is no change in the revision, the job won't be triggered. That's a difference. Okay. So the difference between whole SCM and build periodically. Okay, that is the difference. The same for Git. Same for Git. Everything is the same. It's just only the option is different. But the repository is whatever the repository it is. Okay, it's same option. Okay. Yeah. So that's why we go for GitHub repositories, because of these issues like time issues and server times and so on. But in real time you won't be having such kind of, you won't be setting the times, because that is set by your administrators. We don't do such kind of settings for your servers. So this won't be an issue. Only you need to set up the perfect time. Yeah.
Servers have different regions, the time will be different.
Yes, the time will be different. So, but see, that is only matter only about your Jenkins master. Okay, your master time is important for you. Okay, does not matter. Like for example, I want to deploy my package onto some server which is on different region. Okay, that server time is not important for you. Does not matter for you. The only matter for you is the slave and the master time. Okay, the slave and master time. See, for example, take the repository now. Take the repository. Okay. See, repository time is different. The repository time is different. That's on different time zone. Okay. That is about plus 530. Okay. But my slave and my master is on different time zone, which is about like minus 530. Okay. That does not matter. Okay. Only matter is where is your master, where is your slave. That is important for you. Does not matter about your repository time or your deploy server time. Does not matter for you. Okay. Only important for you is when the job is triggered. That is important. But who is going to take the responsibility to trigger the jobs? Your master. And who is going to run the jobs? Slave. These two must be in sync. Okay. That's why even in the nodes section, right? If you go to the nodes section, you see only those two times. That is important for you. If they are not in sync, okay, you can't trigger the jobs as per you expected. They'll be triggering the job. The jobs will be triggered at different timings. We don't know that. Okay, so that is very important. So that's why make sure the clock differences are in sync. See, the base time is your master is the base time. Master is the base, and then this is your. The slaves will be checking the time based upon your master, whether they are in sync with master or not. If they are not in sync with the master, that will be totally different. The time will be different. Okay? Yeah. So the two things, whatever are given you as a task, just try them out.